We're built for a different world than the one we live in.
We are. I mean, think about it. For 99.9% of human history, our baseline environment was forests, savannas, rivers, oceans. The concrete jungle, the digital world. This is a brand new experiment, biologically speaking. We've only been doing this for a handful of generations.
A blink of an eye.
A total blink. And the source suggests that when we are cut off from that natural baseline, there are specific, tangible consequences. It's not just a vague feeling of, oh, I wish I was camping.
No, the source lists actual symptoms, physical, measurable stuff.
2 major ones, yeah. The first one is a loss of attention span.
I think everyone listening just nodded their head.
Right. I mean, think about the cognitive load of a typical city street. You have flashing lights, sirens, text notifications buzzing in your pocket, traffic, thousands of advertisements screaming for your attention. Your brain is constantly filtering threats and processing information. It never, ever rests.
It's a state of constant hypervigilance.
Exactly. Whereas nature provides what some psychologists call soft fascination.
Soft fascination. I like that. What does it mean?
It means your attention is engaged, but not in a demanding way. Think about the movement of leaves in the wind, the sound of a stream, clouds drifting by. It captures your attention effortlessly. It doesn't require directed focus. And this allows the attention circuits in your prefrontal cortex to rest and recharge.
Whereas scrolling on your phone, which we think of as relaxing, that's not soft fascination.
Not at all. That's hard, directed attention. You're processing information, making micro decisions, reacting to stimuli. It's cognitively exhausting. It's the opposite of restorative.
Wow. Okay, so that's the first symptom, attention span. What's the second?
The second one mentioned is even more physical, elevated blood pressure.
So there's a direct link between the view out your window and your actual cardiovascular health.
That's what the source implies, yes. Our bodies seem to interpret urban density as a low-level chronic stress state. We are constantly braced for impact on some primal level. When you remove that stimulus, when you place yourself in a natural environment, the pressure literally drops. The whole system exhales.
It's like taking the engine out of overdrive and letting it idle.
That's a perfect analogy.
Right.
You're allowing the system to return to its baseline, which is a state of calm, not a state of alert.
So, if the problem is this alienation from nature, the prescription is obviously get back into it.
Right.
But the source gets specific here. It's not just go outside. That's too simple.
Right. It introduces the concept of green spaces. And John, the other character in our dialogue, brings up a practice that has gained a lot of traction recently, forest bathing.
Now, I have to admit, the first time I heard the term forest bathing, I pictured a clawfoot tub in the middle of a clearing with, like, pine-scented bath bombs.
You and me both. I had a similar image. But no, soap is not required. It's a direct translation of the Japanese term shinrin-yoku.
Shinrin-yoku.
And the distinction the source makes here is absolutely vital. Forest bathing is about immersion. It's about simply being in the presence of the forest atmosphere. It's a sensory experience, smelling the earth, hearing the birds, feeling the breeze.
And this is where the cultural clash happens, right?
Yeah.
Because in the West, if we are going to the woods, we usually have a goal. We are going to hike the trail. We're going to reach the summit. We're going to burn 600 calories. We're going to get our heart rate into zone 3.
We gamify nature. We turn it into another productivity metric. We treat the forest like an outdoor gym rather than a sanctuary or a cathedral.
And the source argues that this completely defeats the purpose of the recharge. If you are stressing your body and mind to conquer the mountain, you aren't getting that soft fascination we were talking about.
You're just moving the stress outside. You're swapping the stress of your inbox for the stress of your lactate threshold.
Which leads us to what I think is the most relatable and frankly painful anecdote in the entire text, the story of John's hiking disaster.
Oh, poor John. We have all been John at some point.
We have. So John decides he is going to fix his nature deficit disorder. He's going to get his green time. He's all in. But he doesn't just, go for a walk in the local park.
No, that'd be too simple. John falls deep into what you might call the novice trap. He equates doing it right with buying all the gear.
Ah, yes, the gear acquisition phase.
So he goes out and buys brand new, heavy-duty, expensive hiking boots.
The kind that are stiff as a board, unforgiving leather. The kind you probably need if you're, crossing a glacier in the Himalayas.
Exactly. And he decides that for his first excursion in these new boots, he's not going to walk a gentle path. He's going to conquer a mountain. He wants to optimize the experience. If nature is good, More nature and harder nature must be better.
Oh no, I can feel the blisters forming just talking about it. My heels are aching in sympathy.
And that is exactly what happened. It was a complete catastrophe. He tells Emma he ended up with blisters the size of grapes.
The size of grapes, that is such a specific and visceral image. It makes you wince.
And the aftermath was just as bad. He literally couldn't walk properly for 3 days.
So let's just pause and look at the net result of his attempt to get healthy. He immobilized himself. He caused himself acute pain. He likely spiked his cortisol levels from the stress of the injury and the frustration. He is objectively worse off than if he had just stayed on the couch.
And this is the most important part, he created a powerful negative association with the very habit he was trying to build. Now, when he thinks of nature, his brain connects it to pain and failure.
That's the quickest way to kill a new habit.
It's habit sabotage. The brain is an avoidance machine. If green space equals grape-sized blisters, the brain says, you know what? Let's just stay inside and watch Netflix. It's safer there.
So what is the lesson Emma draws from this? Because it's not just don't buy bad boots. It's deeper than that.
The lesson is incremental progress. It's the core philosophy of the whole text, really.
Yeah.
We have this tendency, especially when we are motivated and trying to change our lives, to go from 0 to 100. We want the transformation now.
The New Year's resolution effect.
Exactly. But enthusiasm so often leads to overexertion, which leads to injury or burnout.
We try to break in the boots and the body and the habit all at the same time.
And the whole system just breaks. The source emphasizes that you have to break things in gradually. Think about it. If John had just worn his old comfortable sneakers and walked for 20 minutes on a flat, wooded trail,
He would have come home feeling refreshed, clear-headed.
and he would have built a positive association. He would have wanted to go back the next day, maybe for 25 minutes.
Consistency beats intensity.
Every single time when it comes to habit formation, and this applies to everything we're going to talk about today, you don't fix your ecosystem by detonating a bomb in it. You fix it by gardening, little bit by little bit.
You fix it by gardening. I like that a lot. Now, before we leave the external environment, there is one more crucial element the source touches on. We've talked about the green, but we also need to talk about the light.
Yes, this is where the biology gets really, really interesting. The source connects being outdoors to our internal regulation system via sunlight and vitamin D.
It brings up SAD, seasonal affective disorder.
Right, which many listeners, especially those in colder climates, might be intimately familiar with. It's that predictable dip in mood and energy that hits like clockwork during the winter months.
Winter blues.
And the source explicitly links this to a lack of light exposure. It's not just a psychological reaction to gloomy weather, oh, it's gray, so I feel gray. It's a chemical reaction.
Or lack of a chemical reaction, I guess.
A lack of one, precisely. And John makes a callback here in the dialogue to circadian rhythms, which they must have discussed in part 1. This is crucial. We are fundamentally rhythmic creatures. Our hormones, melatonin for sleep, cortisol for waking, serotonin for mood, they all operate on a 24-hour clock.
And that clock is set by light.
Light is the primary input. It's the master signal that tells our body what time it is and what it should be doing.
So when we sit inside under artificial fluorescent lights all day and then stare at blue light emitting screens all night, we are essentially confusing the hell out of our internal clock.
We are living in a state of permanent biological jet lag.
That is a terrifying phrase.
Yes.
Permanent biological jet lag.
But think about it. It explains so much, doesn't it? The chronic fatigue, the insomnia, the mood swings. You know that feeling when you get off a long-haul flight in a new time zone and your body just feels wrong? Your digestion is off, your brain is foggy, your sleep is completely wrecked.
It's a horrible feeling.
That is how many people live every single day of their lives because their bodies aren't getting the clear environmental signal of this is morning, time to wake up, and this is night, time to wind down.
So getting into nature isn't just about the pretty scenery and the fresh air. It's about exposing your photoreceptors in your eyes to natural full-spectrum light to signal to your body. It is daytime. Be awake. Produce serotonin. Be happy.
Exactly. And here's a key point. Even on a cloudy, overcast day, the lux, which is the measure of the intensity of light outside, is vastly, exponentially higher than it is inside a typical office building.
Really, even on a gray day.
Oh, by orders of magnitude. Your eyes need that intensity to trigger the full hormonal cascade that wakes you up properly. A cup of coffee is a temporary patch. Sunlight is the actual operating signal.
So The external environment acts as a regulator. It's the conductor of our internal biological orchestra.
Correct. And without the conductor, the instruments, your organs, your hormones, your neurotransmitters, they all start playing out of sync, and the result is chaos.
Okay, that's a powerful foundation. Let's move from the outside world to the inside. Section 2, the internal environment. And we are going to get a little personal here.
We are.
We are talking about hydration, which sounds basic, but Emma introduces a very specific way to measure it. She calls it crude but effective.
The visual check.
The color of your urine.
Look, it is the original biofeedback. It's the OG wearable.
It really is. It's wild when you think about it. We spend hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars on smartwatches and rings and patches to tell us how our body is doing.
We obsess over sleep scores and heart rate variability.
And Emma points out that we have this free, built-in, real-time dashboard that we actively ignore several times a day.
Biofeedback is just a loop where you get data about your body in real time so you can make an adjustment. And the rule Emma lays out is the simplest algorithm in the world. Dark equals dehydrated. Clear or pale yellow equals hydrated. That's it.
So why is this such a major focus in the source? I mean, I feel like drink more water is advice we've all heard a million times. It's the eat your vegetables of the beverage world.
It is, but it's one of those things we hear so often we stop listening to it. And the reason it's a focus is because, as Emma claims, a huge number of people are operating in a state of chronic low-level dehydration.
Okay, so what does that mean? It's not that they are like collapsing of thirst in the desert.
No, not at all. It's much more insidious than that. It's that they are constantly running at 90% capacity, then 80%, then maybe 70%. It's a slow, invisible drain on performance.
And what does that actually look like in daily life? What are the symptoms of running at, say, 80%?
The big one is brain fog.
The 3.0 euro PM slump.
That's the one. That feeling where you just stare at the screen and the cursor is blinking and your brain feels like it's full of cotton wool. You have nothing.
I know that feeling well.
Also fatigue, general sluggishness, a lack of mental sharpness. And here is the danger point the source highlights. We are terrible at interpreting that signal from our body.
We don't think, oh, my brain, which is about 75% water, is shrinking slightly from lack of fluid impairing cognitive function.
No, we think, I'm tired, I need coffee, or we think, I'm hungry, I need a sugary snack, or I'm just lazy today.
We misdiagnose the symptom completely.
And we do. We throw calories or caffeine at a problem that just requires H2O. And this leads us directly to the caffeine trap that John, our relatable everyman, falls right into.
John asks the question I think we have all secretly hoped the answer is yes to for our entire lives. He asks, does the liquid in my coffee count towards my hydration?
It's liquid, it's wet, it's mostly water. Surely it hydrates. Please let it be true.
But Emma just shuts him down, cold.
She introduces the term diuretic.
Okay, break that down for us. What is a diuretic exactly?
A diuretic is any substance that promotes diuresis, which is the increased production of urine. Essentially, it signals your kidneys to flush more water out of your system than they otherwise would.
So the caffeine in the coffee is actively telling your body to get rid of water.
Correct. So while you are taking in, say, 8 ounces of liquid in a cup of coffee, the caffeine is simultaneously triggering a process that removes water.
So it's a zero-sum game at best.
Or a negative-sum game, depending on the strength of the coffee and your personal tolerance. You are borrowing energy from the caffeine, but you are paying a significant tax in hydration. You cannot espresso your way to being hydrated.
That is a hard truth for a lot of people. I think so many listeners probably use coffee as their primary, if not only fluid intake, until maybe lunch or dinner time.
And if you do that, the afternoon crash is almost inevitable. You ride that caffeine high for a few hours, but underneath, the dehydration is building up, your cells are getting parched. When the caffeine wears off, you don't just return to your baseline, you crash far below it because your system is depleted.
But John brings up a very valid counterpoint, which I think is the real barrier for many people. He says water is monotonous.
It's boring. It has no flavor.
It's the blank page of beverages. There's no excitement there.
I love that description. And he's absolutely right. Compared to the hyper-palatable, sugar-filled, chemically engineered drinks we are constantly marketed, plain water is a sensory void. And human beings are, at our core, dopamine-seeking missiles. If it doesn't taste good, if there's no reward signal, we will naturally resist it.
So how do we fix that? Because willpower is a finite resource. You can't just force yourself to drink something you find boring forever. That's not a sustainable habit.
No, you'll fail. You have to lower the friction. And this is where Emma's advice gets really practical. She suggests flavor hacking.
This sounds fancy and complicated, but it's actually really simple stuff.
It's incredibly simple. She's talking about infusing water, putting slices of cucumber in it, a wedge of lemon, some crushed berries, a sprig of mint.
It seems so trivial. Does it really make a difference?
It can make all the difference because what you are doing is you're changing the reward profile of the drink. You are making it palatable. You are turning it from a chore into a mild treat.
You're tricking your dopamine-seeking brain into enjoying the maintenance.
Exactly. Palatability is a huge driver of human behavior. If you make the water just slightly more interesting, you remove that big psychological barrier of boring. You might actually find yourself looking forward to it.
She also couples that with a powerful environmental trigger, the reusable water bottle.
Which is sitting right here on the table between us as we speak. It works.
It is a visual cue. It's behavior change 101. If the bottle is in your line of sight, you will sip from it. If it is hidden away in the kitchen cabinet, you won't. You are consciously engineering your immediate environment to support the habit you want to build.
It works on the simple principle of availability. If the water is within arm's reach, you will sip it unconsciously throughout the day. If you have to make a conscious decision to get up, walk to the kitchen, find a clean glass, and fill it, you will only do it when you are desperately thirsty. The bottle just bridges that gap.
It's fascinating how much of this ecology of the self comes down to these simple principles. Removing friction for good things and adding friction for bad things.
That is the absolute essence of environmental design for habits and for life. You want the good choice, the healthy choice, to be the path of least resistance.
So we've covered the external environment, the green space and the light. We've covered the internal environment, the fluids and the low-tech biofeedback. Now let's move upstairs. Let's talk about the mental architecture.
Yes. This is where the deep dive gets really psychological. We are moving from the hardware, the body, to the software, the mind.
Section 3. Boundaries. The source material pivots here from what we put in to how we protect what we have. And John voices a feeling that I think is almost universal. He talks about the guilt. The guilt of no.
This is perhaps one of the most pervasive issues in modern work and social culture. John describes feeling intensely guilty when he refuses to take on extra work or when he says no to a social gathering because he's just plain tired.
He feels like he is letting people down. He feels like he should be able to do it all, to be everything to everyone.
And that word should is such a dangerous word. We've been conditioned to equate saying yes with being a team player, a good friend, a hard worker. So conversely, saying no feels like a moral failure. It feels selfish.
There's this deep-seated belief that our availability equals our value. If I am always available to help, I am valuable. If I am unavailable, I am useless or selfish.
Exactly. It's a toxic equation. But this is where Emma flips the script on him. She uses a powerful psychological technique called reframing.
Reframing is such a core tool in therapy and coaching. Can you break that down for us in this specific context?
Sure. Reframing is essentially cognitive restructuring. It's taking the exact same set of facts, but choosing to look at them through a different lens, a different frame, in order to change the emotional meaning and your subsequent reaction.
So you're not changing the situation, you're changing how you see it.
Precisely. And in this case, Emma argues that we need to reframe the very concept of selfishness.
How does she redefine it? What's the new frame?
She argues that saying no is not an act of selfishness. It is an act of self-preservation.
That's a huge shift. From a moral failing to a survival instinct?
It is. And it is based on what the source calls the energy theory. You have to start viewing your energy, your mental, your emotional, and your physical capacity as a finite resource.
We don't, though. We tend to treat energy like it's magic, like it's infinite. We think if we just push harder, drink more coffee, we can generate more of it on demand.
But it's not magic. It's physics. It's biology. It's a battery. And if you keep drawing power from a battery without ever stopping to recharge it, what happens?
It dies.
It dies. And that's what burnout is. Burnout isn't a badge of honor. It's a total system failure. It means you ran the machine until it broke down completely. Think about your smartphone. When it hits 10% battery, it automatically goes into low power mode. It stops fetching emails in the background. It dims the screen. It throttles the processor. It creates boundaries to survive.
Humans need a low power mode.
We do. And saying no is how you activate it. When you say no to that extra project you don't have time for, you aren't being lazy. You are protecting the asset. You're protecting the battery.
You are protecting your capacity to function. That's a phrase from the source.
It's a great phrase. And think about it this way. If you say yes to everything, you dilute your finite energy across so many things that you end up doing all of them poorly. You become known for being unreliable because you're constantly exhausted and stretched too thin.
That's a crazy paradox, isn't it? By trying to please everyone and be the ultimate yes man, you end up serving no one well, including yourself.
Exactly. But if you strategically say no to the things that drain you or aren't a priority, you preserve and concentrate that energy for the things that truly matter. When you do say yes, you show up fully. You are vibrant. You are capable. You do your best work.
So boundaries are actually a quality control mechanism for your output.
That is a brilliant way to put it. I'm going to steal that. Boundaries ensure that what you deliver is high quality because you actually have the resources in the tank to produce it.
But let's be real. Setting boundaries is terrifying. In the moment, that guilt that John talks about is very, very real. So how does the source suggest we deal with that immediate visceral feeling of, I'm being a jerk right now?
Emma suggests focusing on the hidden trade-off. Every time you say yes to something you don't have the capacity for, you are implicitly saying no to something else. And that something else is usually major. Your sleep, your health, your family time, your own peace of mind.
So the guilt comes from only seeing the person you're disappointing in front of you.
Yes. You need to flip the camera around and see the person you are protecting, which is yourself, your future self. It's not just, no, I can't come to the party. It's, no, I can't come to the party because I am saying yes to getting 8 hours of sleep so I'm not a zombie at my kid's soccer game tomorrow.
You're making the yes explicit in your own mind.
You are. And over time, something amazing happens. People start to respect your boundaries. They learn that your yes really means something because it's not given away freely. It signals that you take your work and your well-being seriously.
But it's hard. It requires a lot of mental fortitude to look someone in the eye and say, I can't do that.
Which is why it pairs so well with the next section of the source material. If boundaries are about protecting the quantity of our energy, we also need to look at the quality of that energy.
Right. Section 4. Rewiring the brain. The source brings up gratitude.
Now, hold on. I can just hear some of the listeners rolling their eyes right now.
I know. The word gratitude has been co-opted. It's on the coffee mugs. It's the hashtag blessed on a picture of a fancy brunch. It can feel fluffy.
It can feel like denial. And the source addresses this head on by immediately contrasting healthy gratitude with toxic positivity.
This is a really crucial distinction to make. What is toxic positivity?
Toxic positivity is the blind insistence that everything is fine, and you should only have good vibes when things are clearly not fine. It is the active suppression of so-called negative emotions.
It's someone telling you to look on the bright side when your house is on fire.
Perfect example. It's incredibly invalidating. It tells you that your pain, your stress, your anger isn't real, or that you're somehow wrong for feeling it. Good vibes only is actually a very aggressive and dismissive statement if you're having a legitimately bad time.
Exactly. So Emma makes it crystal clear. Healthy gratitude is not that. It is not about ignoring problems. You're allowed to be stressed. You're allowed to be in pain. You can have a terrible, rotten day.
So what is it then in this framework? In this framework, it is a conscious effort to acknowledge what is going well alongside the bad. It's not about replacing the bad with the good. It's about making sure the good gets equal airtime. It's about accurate data collection on your life.
It's widening the aperture of your attention.
Yes. And the neuroscience behind this, which the source touches on, is fascinating. It talks about shifting and strengthening neural pathways.
This is the old what fires together wires together concept from Hebbian learning.
That's the one. The brain is an efficiency engine. It gets good at whatever it practices. And if you spend your entire day scanning your environment for threats, annoyances, and problems, which, let's be honest, is the default survival mode for many of us.
It is. It's our evolutionary heritage. We are wired to look for the tiger in the bush. Or, in modern terms, the passive-aggressive email in the inbox.
Laughs.
The inbox tiger.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you practice that all day, your brain builds a neurological superhighway for negative thoughts. You become an expert at finding misery. You will walk into a beautiful room and your eyes will immediately be drawn to the one tiny stain on the carpet.
That's sometimes called the Tetris effect, right? If you play Tetris for hours, you close your eyes and you see falling shapes everywhere.
Precisely. If you play Find the Problem all day at work, you see problems everywhere in your life. But gratitude is the counter practice. It is the conscious training of your reticular activating system that filter in your brain to scan for opportunities. to scan for the positive data points.
So you are literally, physically building a new highway in your brain.
You are rewiring your default search engine. And the source gives a very practical, concrete tool for this. It's not just think happy thoughts. That's too vague.
The gratitude journal.
And specifically, the act of writing it down is key.
Why? Why does the physical act of pen on paper matter so much? Can't I just think of 3 good things while I'm brushing my teeth? You can, and that's better than nothing, but the source implies that writing it down forces a different and deeper level of cognitive processing. It forces your brain to start, to actively search the day's memory banks for specific positive data points, and then to encode them into language and motor action.
Yeah.
That effort is the rep at the mental gym.
It makes the thought concrete. It's not just a fleeting feeling anymore. It becomes a piece of data, a record.
Exactly. And over time, that search process becomes automatic. Your brain gets good at it. You start noticing the sunset or the really good cup of coffee or the friendly interaction with a stranger in real time as it's happening. You don't have to hunt for it anymore at the end of the day. You have fundamentally rewired your outlook.
It's interesting because this connects all the way back to the environment theme from the beginning. In this case, you are curating your internal mental environment.
Yes.
You are deciding what furniture to put in your mind. Are you going to fill it with clutter and threats and garbage, or are you going to consciously place a few beautiful, positive things in there every single day?
That's it exactly. You are the interior decorator of your own consciousness. And a gratitude practice is just choosing to put a nice lamp and a comfortable chair in the corner instead of another pile of garbage.
So we've built this incredible structure now. We have nature fueling us from the outside. We have hydration keeping the internal engine running. We have boundaries protecting our fuel tank. And we have gratitude keeping our navigation system oriented toward the good. This brings us to the final part, Section 5, the virtuous cycle.
Or, as the source calls it, systemic integration.
That sounds very corporate and a little dry.
It does. But it's just the simple, powerful idea that these things don't happen in a vacuum. They aren't separate habits. They feed each other.
The source calls it the virtuous cycle. It's the opposite of a vicious cycle.
Right. Think about the chain reaction. Let's trace it. You wake up, and based on what we've discussed, you drink a big glass of water instead of going straight for the coffee. You are hydrated.
Okay, so your brain fog lifts a little bit. You feel a bit sharper than usual.
Because you feel sharper, you have the mental presence to notice that you are starting to get stressed by your morning emails. So instead of just grinding through, you take a 10-minute walk outside.
And on that walk, you get some natural light in your eyes. You get some soft fascination. You lower your blood pressure. You reset the system.
Because you've reset, you have the emotional capacity to handle a difficult, unexpected request from a coworker. Instead of snapping or just caving in out of exhaustion, you calmly and politely set a boundary.
And in doing so, you protect your energy for the rest of the day.
And because you protected your energy, you aren't a complete wreck at the end of the day. You have the mental bandwidth to write down 3 things you're grateful for in your journal, which helps you sleep better.
And you wake up the next morning feeling more rested, ready to do it all again, maybe even a little bit better. It loops upward.
It's an upward spiral. Now contrast that with the vicious cycle, which is so much more common.
You wake up groggy, you chug coffee, you skip the water, you're immediately dehydrated and anxious, you're too busy to go outside.
Yeah.
You say yes to every request out of guilt and a lack of energy to fight back. You crash at 3 p.m., you numb out with doom scrolling and junk food at night.
And you wake up feeling even worse than you did the day before. The whole point of this deep dive, I think, is to show you where the leverage points are to flip that switch. You don't have to change everything all at once. You just have to interrupt the vicious cycle at one single point. Maybe it's the glass of water, maybe it's the 10-minute walk, and start turning the wheel the other way.
And there's always a but. Maintaining this cycle isn't always sexy or exciting.
No, not at all. And this is where the source gets really honest. It talks about the unglamorous side of health.
This is the stuff that no wellness influencers posting on Instagram. You know, hashtag root canal, hashtag annual checkup.
Exactly. Hashtag dental cleaning. It's preventative maintenance.
And the source directly challenges that very common mentality of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Which is the standard operating procedure for so many of us, especially men, let's be honest. John admits in the source that he has been procrastinating on going to the dentist.
Classic John.
Right.
First the hiking boost disaster, now the dentist avoidance. He really is the everyman in this story.
He is. But that procrastination is so dangerous. The source lists these specific, unglamorous necessities. regular medical checkups, dental cleanings, and it also mentions monitoring your skin for reactions to environmental toxins.
That last one is interesting, monitoring your skin.
Yeah.
We usually think of skincare as vanity, not health.
But the skin is your body's largest organ. It's the primary barrier between you and the world. It is often the first place to show signs that something is wrong in your internal or external environment. Rashes, dryness, acne, eczema, these are all early warning signals on the body's dashboard.
And the dental thing, why is that so important?
We now know that oral health is intrinsically linked to cardiovascular health and systemic inflammation. Inflammation in your gums can signal and even contribute to inflammation elsewhere in the body. But because it's not fun and because it can involve some discomfort, we put it off.
We act like the body is a magical machine that runs forever until it suddenly and catastrophically explodes. But Emma argues for the preventative maintenance model.
Just like your car. You change the oil not because the car is broken, but so it doesn't break down on the highway in the middle of nowhere.
So the lesson here is, make the appointment, do the boring stuff, clean your ecosystem's filters.
It protects the baseline. You can't reach peak performance if your foundation is crumbling because you have a hidden tooth infection you ignored for 6 months. It's a crucial, if unglamorous, part of the virtuous cycle.
It really all comes down to a sense of stewardship, doesn't it? Being a good steward of the one body you get to live in.
That's a great way to frame it.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I want to touch on the overarching philosophy that Emma shares at the very end of the source material. I think it perfectly sums up everything we've talked about today.
Incremental progress, not perfection.
Yes. I think this is the single most important takeaway for anyone listening, because everything we've discussed, the hydration, the boundaries, the gratitude journals, the forest bathing, it can feel incredibly overwhelming if you try to overhaul your entire life on a Monday morning.
If you try to do it all at once, you are John with the new boots on the mountain. It's inevitable. You will get blisters. You will crash and burn.
You will get burnout from trying to achieve wellness. The irony.
And health is described in the source not as a destination, but as a journey of experimenting. It isn't a rigid set of rules that you either pass or fail. It is about finding what makes you, the individual listener, feel vibrant and capable.
So maybe for you, forest bathing is too slow and meditative. Maybe you need a brisk walk with a podcast to clear your head. Maybe you hate cucumber water, but you discover you love water with a little bit of lime and mint.
Exactly. It's about customization and self-discovery. But the direction of travel should always be toward that incremental 1% improvement. 1% better today than you were yesterday.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? We've traveled a long way in this conversation, from the forest to the cells to the deep structures of the mind and back to the dentist's chair.
We've seen that you cannot separate yourself from your environment. You are not a brain in a jar. You are a complex, sensitive organism living within an ecosystem.
And the empowering part of all this is that you have more control over that ecology than you might think. You can control the fluids that go in. You can control the boundaries you set. You can control where you point the spotlight of your attention.
You are the architect of your personal ecosystem.
So here is my final provocation for you. I want you to think about that one unglamorous appointment. You know, the one that popped into your head 5 minutes ago when we were talking about it, and you immediately pushed it away. The one you've been putting off for 6 months or maybe a year.
Or consider the one boundary you know you need to set this week. Who or what is asking for energy that you simply do not have to give right now?
If your energy is truly a finite resource, where are you currently leaking it? Is it a leak in your hydration, a leak in your boundaries, a leak in your attention that you're giving away to things that don't matter?
Find the leak. Just one. And then, taking a small incremental step, don't buy the brand new boots yet. Just find a way to patch it.
I think I'm going to go check the color of my hydration right now.
A wise choice. And I think I'll go break in my walking shoes just around the block.
Slowly.
Very, very slowly.
Thanks for diving deep with us. Go take care of your ecosystem.
Go.